Hello gamers and welcome to today's YouTube video. Whereas we continue in the series of buffed tanks, today is the Vz-55 with now a buffed single shooter. Does it bring this tank back to the top of the top performing heavies? Let's find out together. I feel like at this point people should know already, but just in case they don't, let's go over the armor model again of the Vz-55 when it's playing against its own APCR. You can see that, in hold down this tank works pretty effectively, and even a tight side scrape will work pretty well for the Vz-55. Less so when you're playing against heat ammunition, because you gotta be careful, and remember as well the sides are pretty penable with this heat ammunition if you expose that. But against just its own gun, you can see the potential pretty strong. Even that side panel is pretty good, but of course you have that cupola that sticks out like a sore thumb. Outside of that, you see here in the first track wheel, there's a ricochet angle as well that can be very annoying to shoot at, but nothing too like out of the ordinary. People are not really going to be shooting for your mantlet. They're mainly going to be shooting for this massive cupola, to be honest. So shouldn't worry too much about the armor layout. It's very straightforward. So just to go over it real quick, there's not much to it. The biggest difference, of course, between these two guns is the very obvious one, is that one has 530 alpha and the other one has 490 alpha. The reason why it says 537 and 496 is, of course, because of ammo tuning, which puts that a little bit. You can see definitely more alpha, also more penetration on the pre-maps here, which translate into better DPM all in all as well. This has, of course, the 23-second reload for the full double shot. And outside of that, there's no difference, right? It's just the alpha pen, and of course, since it's a single shot, it doesn't really change much else than that, right? But it's interesting to point out at the very least. All right, welcome to the Vz-55 with the single shooter, which got buffed quite, drastically in 2.0, to the point where it's actually, in my opinion, still a choice. I'll already say that. I think it's a choice between the single or the double. They have their advantages and disadvantages, of course. The double has the advantage of the fact that it doesn't need to play a peekaboo style. It just peeks, shoots twice, and pulls back into cover. This gun has better DPM, has better alpha, so it is more of a single shooter playstyle. Which one is better? I don't know. I feel like you could play the tank with either gun and still perform, to be honest. Like, I think it's actually a choice to what style. I feel like a better player will probably end up doing better with the single shooter, while a worse player will probably end up doing better with the two-shot gun, simply because it doesn't rely on you peeking numerous times. But especially this replay is a very good one to show because it's about Erlenberg, and yesterday on stream I had a lot of molding sessions about Erlenberg. This map is now very different than what it used to be. The eastern side will remind you of the old Kharkov, I think it is, where you have, the two little hills where the RHM and the Borken cave are. Like, you have a little hill here, you have a little hill here, and then you have like a hill on the zero line as well. Like, it's literally, I feel like old Kharkov in a way. The field like reminds me exactly of that area. Basically completely useless, except for in tank destroyers. But then, of course, this western part is very different than that map, because on old Kharkov you didn't have this position where I am now, and the castle controls this map, in my opinion. Whoever has the position where I am controls the angles, controls the engagement, and has very good shots. There was already a lot of random angles into the city, but there's been walls removed, buildings removed, gaps opened up. But you can see, especially here, just blasting in towards that field, and if the tank destroyers get spotted, they would get blasted by this position as well. So, and you can also see that if there was people below me, I would simply be able to shoot them. So, this position that I'm in currently, it's just the most important part of the map. Let me play light for a second. The south does get like that IS-7 position, which shoots back into you a little bit, but not enough. altogether. The only annoying thing about this castle area up is that there's only one road leading into it. So that is good and bad at the same time. I7 misses, Hacker misses, give him a shot, and the Gorilla's trying to make a play, but he cannot do that because all the trees on the kill line have been removed, which was maybe a little bit drastic. You know, I'm all for it in a way, but you know, all the trees have been removed, so he doesn't really have a position there that he can play to shoot back into me. Technically, he could play against the red line and then have some shots, but it wouldn't be very good shots at all. But, you know, I've already done 2.7k damage. The enemy team is kind of stuck at that south part. And yeah, you can see that I7 position can be a little bit annoying to play against, but at the same time, I'm also playing against it. I could be avoiding him all to get hit by that. We are actually losing the game, even though I said castle controls the angles, which honestly it does. You can just see what kind of like amazing shots I have. 633 and a fire on the object for 30U is, you know, it's pretty nice, and the gun is behaving very well. It's still, you know, and the Vz-55 single shooter is something you should compare more like to a 277 than anything else. You compare more to a 277 than a VZ with a double shot in terms of like play style. Advantages that this has over a 277 is it can run HP turbo stabs. You cannot do that on a 277 because you have a rammer. The fact that this doesn't have a rammer at the same time is slightly annoying for that reload. If this had a rammer, it would honestly be cracked. Like it actually would be cracked if it had a rammer, but it doesn't. I feel like that's what's still kind of holding this this gun back. But yeah, basically on Erlenberg, I think people need to come to the realization that this 4, 5, 6 line is now, I wouldn't say completely useless, but at the same time, as much as it was super important before, it is way less important now. I think you could honestly give up 5 line, 6 line and 7 line as long as you play castle and like C8 and be fine, because they can't really progress too much out of that at all. So you know, maybe watching this replay helps many people that haven't played the map yet to realize this. If this is good or bad, I honestly still don't know. I haven't made up my mind yet whether I like this or not. I really don't know. I haven't played it enough times. And the few times I've played it, let's say in 80% of my games, I have driven towards the castle. My teammates have not come to the castle, and we've lost the game. And there wasn't much to, you know, say about it, except for what are they doing? Like they were playing 5-6 line and got slaughtered like sheep. So here, I decided not to kill the ST2, simply because the Badger is killing the ST2, is spending him time and time again, and you know, it just happens to be a happy coincidence that the hacker had more HP. But it also clears the back angle onto the back of the Badger. It's happy coincidences, oh my god, all around. But you see, 5.7k damage, pretty chill, pretty cool. Get lucky with the gorilla just hitting our track and not penetrating. So we get a good shot against him, and we have done 6k. We're taking only 1 shot in return. Wanted to peek cooldown from here, but actually don't have the gun depression to make that work. So we're going to be intervisioning towards HE. And of course, that's a big roll with that HE. 716, compensating for the low roll on the shell before. But now you get to see another really interesting position, actually. Which is, I didn't figure it out at first, really, because I haven't played here before. And this is also like kind of like what the heli moment, to be honest, because if you go far enough left, you get this position, like this angle, which is low-key a crazy angle, to be honest. Like, it doesn't get that many shots, but just like the sheer like height and hold down that you get from this position, it's crazy. Like, I don't know. So, I don't know. This is the first time I've ever driven to this spot, but you can see, like, I got some really good peaks against the people in front, and it's a very good position to defend my own base from, as well. You obviously cannot go there in a light tank ever, even considering that is not the most intelligent move, because you would get proxy spotted from below. So, you know, it's really only a heavy tank position or anything that can play hold on. And, Yeah, the Burkenkaffer shoots us. We chase him. Luckily enough, we don't get a... Sadly, we don't get the HE pin. And now the 13-105 is moving in as well. So they're trying to 2v1 me. He shoots on the move. He misses. We aim for the track on the 13-105 on purpose because we know that if we ram him, he will die. And he does just that as well, which puts the Borkenkäfer into a real predicament of what to do. You know, he's faltering under the pressure as well, hitting buildings, hitting walls, and ends up perishing for display as well. So that was a nice track shot against the 13-105. That was actually very good. Gave me the opportunity to ram him. And now back to the same position that we were in before. It's very interesting. It really controls a lot of the angles as well, to be honest. Aim for the Jagdpanzer. Could have shot the engine deck. Go for the turret anyways. Doesn't really matter. Either is a pen. And now the guy is going back to the cab. And I gotta say, the Borkenkäfer in this battle played very well. When he was at A3, he was trying to help me kill the IS-7. He spotted the other IS-7 on the camp. He gave him like 2-3 shots as well. Now spots him out again. And with that, it's a quick 10k on the Vz-55 with a single shooter. I will say the gun behaved very well this battle. Like, behaved very well. But you will get games like this in this tank. And honestly, this gun feels good, and I legit think there's a choice to play with this. But I still think it depends on you altogether which one you want to go for. I don't even know which one I would pick myself. But seeing as I sold the double gun, you know, I'm gonna keep using the single gun, or I would have to buy it back. That was in the great ammo steal of our day. Do I care about the Radleys? No. Do I want the extra 550 damage? Yes. Am I gonna beg the Borkenkäfer to give it to me because of that? Of course. Another lucky coincidence in this battle, you know. More is better. More is better. Little begging goes a long way, let me tell you. As a Twitch streamer, I know all about that. This is more like the Vz-55 gun that, you know, you'll get quite often. Just a random ricochet on the top of the GW. And this is actually a crazy play from the Borken. He shoots HE at the track of the GW E100 with his ability, which gives me a damage boost as well because he's mic'd, so I can kill him in one shot. Now, that is a crazy Borken play, nonetheless. It's smart. It's smart. And yeah, that was a pretty solid battle. So, welcome to the second replay of the Vz-55 video. And the good thing about this video is that it covers two of the major map changes in a way, which is one Erlenberg, and we talked about it, and two Airfield now. Now, if you're quickly wondering what they changed on Airfield, they kind of nerfed the D4-5 position, like here. They cut off a part of the rock here on the left hand side. You used to be able to go fully hold on behind it. They made that rock a little bit smaller, so you're not able to do that anymore. That was an extremely strong position. And then in return, they have added a similar-ish balcony over here with another forward hold on position over there. That is it. And I think they also added rocks here and here, but I don't know if those were there already, like the rock at A3 and the rock at A8. I have no clue if they were there already. I saw that those in like an onslaught battle, I think, and I just can't remember them being there beforehand. But maybe that's just me. Maybe it was always there. To be fair, I haven't really gone through A-line ever at all. So, you know, it's like, I don't know. It looked different, nonetheless, to my understanding. So yeah, we're going to be playing Tunnel here against this. Wait for the 430U. We could have penned him before, to be honest, already when he was in the slightly tilted forward angle, because it ruins the armor for him. But you can see how they added this hold on position here in this in the map, and how it's harder for him to play because the rock is much less big than it was before. Can we also talk about, like, this skin is honestly, like, this style is honestly very cool. Like, I don't know about you, but it's actually so cool. I don't know. I really like the visual appearance of the style and the all the stuff with it. I think it's a very good looking style while not being like too over the top, to be honest. The only sad thing about it is that it was in loot boxes, you know. Alright, so no, I honestly think it's very good looking. But yeah, you can see me play the position here. The BZT-70 is a super test tank that is now in its second or third round of iteration. Second or third iteration of being tested, actually. which normally means it's getting ready to be released. What way will it be released? I don't know. Could be in Christmas loot boxes, could be in an assembly shop, could be in so many things. I'm not sure. I just don't know if they would be testing the Christmas tanks around this time or not. I don't know when they usually test them, to be honest. But yeah, you can see me playing the position here, and this is of course very, very different than what you saw before the patch. It's a pretty strong hold-on position altogether as well, especially when the enemy team starts pushing up, while at the same time not completely denying their push-up, because they could play against me if they wanted to. They're just not doing it. So, is this reworked tunnel better than before? I mean, it's hard to say that it's worse, because it was completely awful when you were playing from the east. There's nothing you could do in the tunnel that didn't get completely owned by the enemy team. And if you went to the rock, nice shot again by me, you went to the rock over there ish, you ended up getting owned by the balcony. So if anything, I will agree that the tunnel seems stronger now from the east than the west, because the western position got nerfed while the eastern position got 2 added, which are indeed fully hold on. But that is classical wargaming balancing right there, ladies and gentlemen. You know, it's the classic, right? What can I say? First it's too good from one side, and then they make it too good from the other side. Mountain Pass comes to mind, for example. Fine-tuning is not their strongest suit whatsoever. 417 from a GC is also completely fine, if you ask me. But so far, you know, doing some good damage. 5k in the tunnel without taking a shot from any real tanks, at least, or tanks that should exist, you know, like Conqueror GC. So, you know, quick 5k. And coming out of the tunnel is always hard, like pushing out of the tunnel, so many angles. But yeah, you can see, like, the beauty of this gun is the alpha change. Like the 530 alpha is what makes this gun a lot better. At the same time, there is issues with design philosophy, which are continuing to make its move throughout or ripple throughout the game. Is that the easiest way to fix something or make something better is by buffing its alpha. However, you cannot continuously do that to every tank that you're going through, because it's just alpha inflation. Of course, games are going to be quicker when everybody's rolling around with, instead of 400 alpha, 500 alpha. Of course, with tier 11, the HP pool increases a bit with it, but it's like a dangerous thing to do in general. That's why, you know, at least on tier 11, they seem to have done a fine job of keeping the alpha inflation within boundaries right now, because, you know, none of the tanks are really going higher than its predecessors while having a higher HP pool. So this I like, but you know, there's more tiers in the game than tier 11. There's tier 10 as well, right? And tier 9, tier 8. So, you know, taking all of those things into account, as always, you know, buffing alpha is the easiest solution. It's the easiest, but it's also the one that can have like serious downsides on the long run. But it does make the gun feel a lot better, you know, like the single shooter gun. And, you know, kind of in a tough situation here, because, you know, the Leopard's on one angle, the Mivi's on the other. And now the hacker ends up getting spotted, which I was wondering about during the game. Where is he? And he's AFK. Would the hacker being in the battle potentially change something? Yeah, it could actually, because, you know, it's a hacker. It's a very, very good tier 11 that was AFK. It impacts our game as well, of course, because it's less HP pool to play around with. And, you know, we're talking about the alpha. Killing a Mivi above 500 HP is always a good feeling. So, you know, again, it's pretty chill. Leopard decides to go for the YOLO, which is interesting. And here the alpha again shines, because, you know, Leopard normally with his HP 1500 would be a 4-shot. Which would be pretty tough to deal with, but now with 530, he's a 3-shot. I mean, it honestly makes all the world of difference and no difference. It depends on the situation. Like sometimes it will make all the difference, and other times it will make 0 difference. This is just the reality of how it works. But you can see, you know, like just trading with this gun, if you can do it, is pretty solid. We have a blind on the Badger as well, so it's like a quick, I think 9.4k damage on the tank, I think, or 9.2. Oh, 9.3, 9,340 damage eventually. But got to showcase the new tunnel fight as well, which, like we said, is probably more advantageous now for the East and the West. But, I mean, both sides can at least play it a little bit. Alright, third and final replay. Close range engagements on Berlin. A good showcase for the tank's armor and how it holds up as well. If you're not lazy, to be honest, you could change the equipment on this. And have something else instead of turbo for this kind of map. Improved aiming, vents, you name it. Whatever you want, to be honest, because you don't really need the turbo on it. So it's something that you could sacrifice altogether. I would keep the HP in any case and scenario, but that's just me. But I'm lazy and I didn't make a second setup. So that one's on me. So it's tier 11, tier 10, but not many tier 11s. I mean, out of the 5 tier 11s they have, only one will actually be playing against me. It's a tier 3, if he even goes to that side. So, you know, it's not that impactful. Pretty good HP pool as well, though, and it's, you know, it's a beautiful battle because there's no artillery. Every game without artillery is beautiful. I'll say that much. So the SRV is going for the window. I like him trying to play a little bit more aggressive. However, I will say that with the SRV playing this position, you really gotta look at what tanks you're playing against. Wargaming modeling, by the way, right there. That window has been like this since it got released. Like a lot of the edges, a lot of the like nooks and crannies are just like not modeled well altogether, and you know. Little stuff like that is annoying, right? At least if it happens often enough, those little things get annoying. At least for me. Like playing Sun River West 8 times in 2 days, and playing East only once. You know, those kind of things are annoying. But you can see the gun is good, right? It's a 530 alpha gun. It handles well. Accuracy is good. You can't expect it to hit everything because it won't, as you know, funny APCR moment. And because it's high alpha compared to the 140 video we had before, this tank is a lot more casual orientated and new player friendly. Well, new player friendly or just casual orientated altogether. Because, you know, DPM is cool, but alpha is king. That one missing, you know, those are the kind of shots that you can expect to happen with the gun. But when you're rolling every single shot above 500, then the damage stacks up pretty quickly, right? It does, and it's very satisfying to roll above 500. 530 is like a great alpha to have because it guarantees most of your shots are above 500, and you also get the, you know, occasional 600 whammy, which is pretty nice. And you know, all in all, I enjoyed playing this tank, but I still enjoyed playing it even with the double. So yeah, I know it got nerfed pretty hard, and in the grand scheme of things, maybe, you know, you could undo some of those nerfs that happened before, but still, I didn't think it was that bad. It was just a classic of a tank gets nerfed and everybody moves on from it altogether. Which doesn't mean the tank is terrible, to be honest. It's just like, it's kind of the natural term. Whenever something gets nerfed, players just move on to the next best thing, you know? Like, look at the 60p, look at the S-Kong. It's just the cycle of life, I guess. And the Vz-55 side armor is actually pretty good as well. Not that much against heat, but it has a lot of annoying positions where you shoot it and it will not bend, like the first track wheel. I learned that the other day as well, that I shouldn't really aim for the first track wheel from a lot of different angles because it doesn't work that well. And, you know, Theater 3 clapping its back, the gun missing a little bit. It's sad, but at the same time, it will happen. You can't expect a gun like this to be flawless. That's why a high alpha gun is also kind of fun to play with, because of that. Like, I feel like when you play a very accurate gun, you expect it to hit almost everything. But when you play something like this, those misses don't quite work on your mental as hard. in return. So luckily my team is clear behind me. Looking for the tier 3, find the kill, 5k, and we end up actually winning the heavy fight, which looked close for a while, especially with the Rhino flanking us. So, you know, it is, it's all in all pretty good. Okay, we've got to be careful here from the 183 because, you know, although I will say, you know, even with 1000 HP, today I died to a non-pen from an FV with 1100, so, you know, it doesn't really mean that you're gonna speak something for free. Luckily enough, he bounces the AP shell. Bit lucky to us, but I am brave and I always speak FVs and then I get disappointed. It's the natural cycle of life, I guess. So, you know, nonetheless, close range engagements. You know, unlike a 277, that's the thing. Like I said, you need to compare it to a 277. This has worse armor than a 277. Right, the cupola is easier to hit, and that alone is, you know, giving it a drawback compared to 277. In return, you always get a stabilizer, though. You know, nonetheless, it's a good tank now. If you were considering your next grind, I think the Vz-55 with this gun can be an enjoyable experience. I don't know if they nerfed or buffed the tier 9 again in this line, but I remember the tier 9, I used to like it, and then they nerfed it, and it was honestly unnecessary because it didn't need the nerf that they gave it. It was to keep it in line with the tier 10, but sometimes you gotta break the line because the tier 9 didn't need to be nerfed back then altogether. But now we're just hunting for the Hirschkäfers. You know, we're spotted out as well. And we see one of the Hirschkäfers close, loading HE, pushing up, he's on reload. Trying to find a shot against him as well. The other one pulls up. Luckily enough, one of my teammates hits him because those guys from the 8 line have not moved throughout these 7 minutes. They have sat there and waited for this glorious moment of somebody going to go spot for them. And it is going to be me doing the thing. Getting another big one. 700 with HE is pretty, you know, it's pretty crazy, to be honest. It's a very nice roll. And sadly for us, the Hirsch kills the Hirsch, and it's just a Borkenkäfer left on the HP that isn't. We're checking close towards here, but with the Leo clearing K-line, he's probably not in this position altogether, to be honest. So, ending up to go towards 1-2 line. Probably should have repaired a few things. End up doing it anyway. It's a bit late. And, you know, there's a good chance he's actually hiding somewhere around the 1 line, to be honest. Wouldn't be surprised if he's just chilling there. He hasn't been spotted for a very long time. Ended up getting spotted out, and sadly, he's a one-shot. So, to conclude, Vz-55 with a single shooter, definitely an option to consider playing. Is it the best tank in the game now? No. Would it be absolutely cracked if it had a rammer? Probably. That a rammer would make this thing go crazy, to be honest. Either way, I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.